The cursor blinks. The message is right there, 23 words long, maybe 30, and your thumb remains frozen, hovering exactly 1 millimeter above the glass. You read it back once, then you read it again. Then, in a matter of seconds, you delete the whole thing. 7 seconds of emotional work, completely gone. In its place, you quickly type 2 words. It's fine. That is it. You press send. The screen shifts. And somewhere in the 2 seconds, immediately after it leaves, there is this small, almost imperceptible physical sensation. A sudden lowering of the shoulders, a shifting in your throat. It feels exactly like releasing a heavy breath, a breath you did not even realize you were holding. It feels like pure relief, an immediate escape from tension. But if you actually sit still and pay attention to that relief, it is tightly mixed with something else entirely. A heavy, cold weight that does not have a clean name. What just happened there is not a simple event. From the outside, it looks like standard emotional restraint. It presents as maturity, choosing not to escalate a situation, letting go of a minor grievance to keep the peace. And maybe in some rare instances, that is part of it. But for those who do this habitually, there is something else. An entirely different psychological architecture layered underneath. A quiet, invisible mechanism worth stopping to look at. Because the long text you just deleted was not wrong. You did not erase it because it contained a lie or a mistake. You deleted it because it was too right. It said precisely what you actually meant. Every single word was placed with careful, intuitive truth. Honest in a way that your nervous system read as dangerous. And you erased it anyway, choosing a safer fiction. People who do this tend to describe it the same way. They tell themselves they just do not want to cause drama, which is a specific phrase worth pausing on. Drama. As if expressing something true about your own experience is inherently a theatrical performance. As if clarity becomes an unnecessary burden the moment you direct it honestly at another human being. That framing does something highly destructive to your mind. It redefines your boundaries as an excessive overreaction before anyone outside your head has even seen them. You effectively become the strict editor and the critic at the exact same moment in time. Here's what is actually occurring beneath that glowing interface. When you write a long, detailed message, you are engaged in a real, necessary psychological process. You are actively organizing a chaotic internal state into language, which takes focus, which means the underlying issue mattered. The act of typing it out is a small act of self-recognition. You felt something, you named it, you put it in order, but then you looked at the text and made a dark prediction. You whispered to yourself, "This will not land the way I mean it." That prediction is where most of the damage happens. It is the immediate, automatic read of the other person. And that internal prediction is rarely neutral or calm. It tends to run hot, shifting immediately into survival mode. You do not imagine them reading your words and softening. You do not imagine them wanting to understand your pain. Instead, your brain instantly simulates them becoming defensive. You see them dismissive, annoyed, or slowly pulling away. And that imagined reaction triggers an immediate response that feels completely identical to the real physical event. Your brain releases the exact same stress hormones. So, you delete the message not because the feeling isn't real. You delete because you have already experienced, inside your head, the consequence of expressing your truth. And that mental consequence felt far too bad to risk. Psychologists who track this specific behavior keep landing on the exact same hidden undercurrent. People who do this regularly have a specific relationship with what they believe the people around them can hold, not what they themselves can hold, what others can tolerate. There's often a quiet, deeply entrenched conviction that your loved ones have a limited capacity for your truth, that too much honesty will permanently tip the scale, that showing your unedited mind will make you too much. It is worth noticing how that belief was probably learned. It was not reasoned into through calm adult logic. Most of us did not sit down one afternoon and conclude that our feelings were simply too large for other people. We just noticed, over time, through small childhood experiments, that showing our raw reality did not go well. We learned early that shrinking was the only path to safety, that the abbreviated version got a better response than the real, authentic one. And we kept that adaptive lesson as an absolute life law. Here's where it gets quietly and deeply complicated. The more frequently you repeat this specific digital ritual, the more you lose track of which version is actually you, because the self you present in those short messages is edited, compressed, and safely sanitized. And while the unedited version lives only in a ghost draft that the world will never be permitted to see, you start to wonder, in small, barely conscious ways, whether the edited version is becoming the real one. Studies tracking people who habitually self-suppress online find something deeply unsettling over long periods. Over time, they report far less certainty about themselves. They lose touch with their own preferences and reactions. Their own core emotional states become a mystery, not because the underlying feelings magically disappear, but because feelings that are consistently denied expression do not remain vivid or sharp inside the human mind. They blur a little, losing their internal contrast. They become completely illegible, even to the person who is actively experiencing them in real time. So the thing you thought was protecting your peace, the deleted message, is doing something to the signal itself. It is not just preventing others from seeing your truth. It is making it impossible for you to read yourself. And then, there is the ultimate paradox that almost never gets acknowledged out loud in our world. The long message you wrote and then erased is often the most honest communication you have had all week. More real than anything you actually decided to send. More precise than anything the other person will ever know. You reached towards something real, touched it clearly, and then immediately locked it away in the dark. Which means the sharpest version of your inner life is living entirely in a void. Expressed to no one, reaching no one, not even yourself. And the relationship you are trying so hard to protect by sending a safe, empty phrase like, "it's fine," continues forward completely unaware of your reality. Which means it is developing without a key piece of data. Which means, on some level, you have made a quiet choice that the relationship's comfort is more vital than its accuracy. Maybe that is the right call sometimes. Maybe it is. But it is worth being honest about the fact that it is a trade. It is never a free choice or a harmless habit. Every deleted message is a small negotiation where one side doesn't know it's in the room. Whether that adds up to a permanent, unbridgeable distance over months and years is a question I cannot answer. I just know that a dynamic built on systematic erasure never stays neutral for long. If this is a silent habit you recognize in your life, not as a fatal flaw, just as something you find yourself doing, this channel exists exactly for this kind of territory. The small, unglamorous human behaviors that you have almost explained away to yourself, but not quite. Subscribe if you want to keep looking closer at what is working quietly underneath the surface, slowly, before it surfaces somewhere much harder to fix.